Hello everyone on the internet and thanks for tuning in.
And welcome to another episode with me, Master Bushido, and with my Toku Bros, Flayvaman!
Naito Obusbia.
Yes, unfortunately, you had to mention that, which is one of the transformed gimmick quota of Master
It's the henchman of
Gaim's
Kamen Rider Baron, brew.
brew or bro.
Brew.
Yeah, and yes, as he mentioned it, we are talking about a Master Rider Gaim today. And as a start off, what did you think?
I liked it. What
And
did
that's
you
the end
think
of the show
it?
today. No, just kidding. Now, me, what did I think? I thought long. As a nutshell.
Okay.
Overall, tediously long. It felt long. Although, I will admit, I love the outfit. The fact that they were able to, because it was a fruit theme, to make outfits on a fruit theme like that, like they did, hats off, because I liked it. But that's it.
I mean, what was your sort of before the series, before you first watched episode 1? What did you know of Gaim?
Fruits, dancing, and the belt was a chopping knife thing. A knife chopping fruits.
I had those as well. Yeah. No, go on.
And I was gonna say, yeah, no.
Well,
kind of thing.
I knew everything you knew. I mean, again, I was a bit indifferent to the chopping board. I was a bit indifferent to the fruit theme, even though I would see loads of people slagging off the fact of fruit theme. I kind of thought, all right, this is clearly going to be aimed at kids. Kids eat your fruit. Dancing, I kind of thought it was actually going to be like a sort of Kamen Rider, Deno, gun form, Rio Taros, Imagine sort of thing. But it was a lot more watered down than that, which, that's having watched the series. Other things I knew, I knew about the whole Sengoku theme. I knew that, I saw, the first image of Gaim. I was like, wow, he actually doesn't look too bad. Showed it to a few of my friends. They were like, is he using an orange segment for a sword? It's like, yes, he is. I kind of had a mixed feeling about the fact that his chest was full of rivets, or rounded off rivets, or whatever. Like, little bumps. And then what else did I know? I'm just thinking what else I might have known. I saw all the commercials for it, and I was like, the commercials for it, I was like, why is he on a horse? So it was a good sort of run up to it.
Just in regards to, starting off with you mentioning the food thing, kids eat your fruits and so on and so forth. Well, I don't know if you read or heard or such, but apparently there was some controversy, the fact that because of the previous series, which was Wizards, that they had a sub-theme of that, which was donuts. And there was a very high...
sugar!
And the fact that there was a lot of controversy in regards to leading to obesity and that, and so maybe this would be the complete and flip and healthy option forcibly kind of thing. So...
even though you had Gaim's second hangout, which was that guy's dessert bar, and then you got Kamen Rider Bravo with his cake shop. But still, kids eat your fruit. Yeah.
But nevertheless, it's just, I just thought I might throw that one out there. At the same time, in regards to the rivets, I think they were referring to the Sengoku era samurai-esque armor that they tried to attempt. Otherwise, starting from the beginning, what did you think of the story?
I liked where the story was going. I didn't like where the story ended up, and that's sort of summing up all the episodes. Episode 1. You got episode 1, which was heavily analysed by absolutely anyone that ever watched it ever. Oh look, you saw Melon form a few episodes early. All right, mate. But the big letdown, and massive spoiler alert as this series will be anyway. You got basically, you had this setup for what was meant to be happening later on, and even the writers and producers went on record to say what you see in the first episode will be happening about halfway through, but it didn't happen like that. I don't know. They must have changed. Yeah, obviously, as Toei do, they see how people react to the first half and rewrite the second half as they feel like. So instead of those events being halfway through, they then said, all right, we'll have a few more events happen. Kamen Rider Bravo had a few more episodes than anticipated. Kamen Rider Baron got his Genesis driver. But then when they did eventually include the events of episode 1 in the actual timeline, it's like, oh, actually, this isn't part of the timeline at all. This is like some alternative dimension, which was a theme for the Gaim and Wizard crossover, which I'll touch on later. But, I kind of thought that was a massive cop-out. They shouldn't have done that. They should have stuck to their guns, and, even if it was like 3/4 of the way through. But no, it just turned out to be the final fifth of the series, which I kind of thought was a bit poor. So, I kind of felt they could have done that better, and we will touch on how it ended later. We'll touch on it at the end. I just kind of thought, there was, like they would dedicate like 4 episodes to each development, which I kind of thought was quite cool. I mean, the dancing was just a bit of a backdrop, and then, the movie, which I'll touch on later, they kind of did a sort of spin on that, just not dancing, it was soccer. And, I liked how Gaim was sort of like a bit of a wimp with heart, and I liked my favourite character, as was for a lot of Gaim fans. Kamen Rider Baron had a great story, beginning to finish. Who was it? Kamen Rider Ryugen, can't remember his long name, Mitsuane or something. He had a
Mitsuane.
Yeah, that's him. He had his story was being compared to a character in Fires, I think, or was it the other one? Never mind. He was being compared to someone else in Kamen Rider, and I think everyone else kind of had they had their good parts in the actual chronology of Kamen Rider Gaim. So, but I thought Gaim's story as the main character was a bit weak, and then it just fell apart at the end anyway. So it's fairly weak, but it fell apart. But I liked Baron's storyline without a doubt.
So while sticking with that story, just nicely tying into, what did you think of the characters?
Characters. I will say that I liked, Gaim, he was a very down-to-earth character. I liked how he was down-to-earth. He just wasn't rider material. I would say, it had a bit of the whole series was being compared to Ryuki anyway. And then, it was because of loads of riders.
And pretty much it was like a battle royale for one stupid golden fruit.
There's that as well. And then, well, again, I can't praise him enough. Kamen Rider Baron, Kaito, loved him. Loved the whole Team Baron thing. Loved the whole he went off on his own thing. And I thought it was a bit weird. He had his own little groupie in Marika, but and then he went absolutely psycho at the end, going for a free, Well, no, he ate one of the lockseed fruits. Spoiler alert. Yeah, so I liked Baron again. I mean, alright, without touching on Ryugen again, you got the what was his name? Melon form guy. I like how this was like the most recent series that ended, apart from but what was his name? Ryugen's brother, Melon form guy, who also had a Genesis driver and had, his it was Kamen Rider Zangetsu is who I'm talking about. I just can't remember the actual character's name. He was quite cool. I liked how suave he was. He was the responsible one. He sort of, he was like the head honcho at the beginning.
Takatora.
And then, what?
Kureshima Takatora.
Yeah, Takatora, that's him. Wait a minute, wasn't Kureshima from Tekken? No, anyway, so Takatora, just the way he was betrayed by the other Genesis driver users, and how he just ended up chilling with the head Overlord Inves dude. I thought that was
Trying to take over Yggdrasil.
Cool. Yeah, Yggdrasil. I kind of thought he had, his story could have been stronger, but he was still a cool character. you're looking at the rest of the riders; they were quite fickle. I mean, you had the two. Well,
Explain.
you had the two nut. Yeah, you had the two nut riders. One of them died and became a cloned trooper. You got the
No
other one
pun
that
intended,
became.
I hope.
Yeah, the other one became Bravo's lackey. But I did like Bravo. He had a cool form. He had a cool form, and he had like a very bizarre character, a mix between the additional character, the transvestite donut van seller, and the fact that he was a military guy, a bit flamboyant. That was quite fun. So there was a sense of fun in the series, just maybe not as much as other Toku shows.
Hang on, wait. So you bringing both the donut shop from Wizard and the dessert shop
What?
as a comparison?
Yeah, it was a little comparison in the character,
Oh, okay.
but not the actual shop. I mean, obviously he was selling cake or whatever. Then what? Then you got the Genesis driver users. You got Sengoku Ryoma. He was. I don't know. I mean, again, there wasn't that much you could do with a character like that. So I don't. I think it was bog standard. You got Sid, the bowler hat guy, the lock seat dealer. I liked how he played it sly. But then he just ended up with a very bizarre demise. Marika, I think everyone was really hot on the fact that there was a female rider in this series. She either rocked it for you or she didn't. I thought she was alright, but she really fell apart at the end being Kaito's groupie. And then, were there any other riders in the series? Were there any other riders in the series?
Knuckle.
Knuckle, yeah, that was the guy from Baron. That was the second in command at Baron. I will say that Knuckle, was he actually a fruit?
Nut.
He was a nut. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it was alright, it was bog standard again. There's not so much you could do, bearing in mind, Kaito basically said, alright, take over the team, I'm going solo. So there wasn't so much you could do with a character like that anyway. I mean, it would have been quite amazing if they'd pulled something spectacular. But, I wasn't expecting it, so they just didn't bother.
Right. In my short form of character-wise, as an overall summary, I'd say mer to all of them. I honestly did not find anyone outstanding. Baron, on the other hand, was not only a scene stealer, a show stealer.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That is
I mean,
only thing I can
he
say.
wasn't supposed to get a Genesis driver, but because he was a popular character, they gave him one.
Agreed.
So yeah, definitely.
And touching on that, just before going into the outfits as well, the fact that, he got pretty much a not banana lemon energy form worked. It just worked.
I mean, and
then from there...
it sounds a bit, sort of like I sort of got a man crush on him, but I kind of thought everything that Baron did was quite cool, even like when he went psycho at the end. I mean, it was a bit OTT, but I still liked it.
See, saying that, his last psycho form, let's just call it that for the sake, or monster form.
I can't even remember what it's called. Yeah.
Okay, Overlord form, for the sake of argument. I think he looked good. See, those are the few moments you can say, that looks good. He looked menacing, he looked beef, he wasn't too lanky of any way, he wasn't too over the top. He just looked menacing.
I agree.
And plus his persona you see driven in him, you know that he's going to flood it out. You just felt. That's the only thing.
I've just paused it. I'll be back in a sec. 1 sec. So don't worry, we're in the middle of recording. Hold on. It's not blooping or anything. Right, so I'll carry it on from when I unpause it, yeah? Yeah?
Cool. So,
So, what did you think of the other characters that weren't riders, like people in Team Gaim, people in Team Baron, and the villains?
I felt those additional characters, the sub characters or whatever you want to call them, either they were so, I don't want to say shoehorn because that's wrong because they were there from the beginning, but then it's like they were so insignificant. It's like you forget about them. They were so sidelined, I think is the word I'm after. It's like everyone else, even Baron himself, had such a strong personality. You're like, oh, the rest were there.
Hmm. Well, I will say you got
If
my. Oh,
anyone,
I was going to say, I mean, like, sort of
Zack,
covering Zack. Who's Zack?
Zack is Knuckle. Zack
Oh,
is the only other maybe character I can say had a semi-persona role.
I disagree. I didn't
Otherwise,
think. I mean, Zack was just like, all right, I'm taking over Baron now.
if I had to say another then, DJ Sagara I thought was hilarious. He's the only other unique character I thought was...
I think we'll touch on him under villain, but I will go with. I mean, analysing Team Gaim, you got my. She really did my head in. I'm just like, oh my
No, I'm
god,
not
go
even going to
away.
go there because, again, with everyone with Team Gaim, I thought was such a... How
Yeah,
can I
I
say?
mean,
Apart from Gaim,
they talked about the dancers who weren't riders. I'm just like, who? I mean, apart from Maya, it's like Maya was just completely in our face. And, talking about a Kamen Rider staple, they seem to have this thing about Lolita assistants. Like, you had it in Wizard with the doll girl, whatever her name was. And then in Kiba, you got the girl who helped Wataru, the violin Kamen Rider Kiba. Again, I just think, and and even in Blade, there was that little girl as well. I just kind of think, why does Kamen Rider do it? It's not clever. I mean, at least the current series Drive doesn't have that, and that's one thing I'm just so relieved. But going on Gaim, going on Maya, I'm just like, why? Just don't do it. It's a little pervy and disgusting, and it
well,
doesn't.
not just that.
It's
I mean,
not,
the
it's
fact
not
that...
fan service. I mean, even Marika wasn't fan service, but
See,
it's just
originally
no need.
I was gonna let you do like 99% of this and of this review and say like for me when it came to me I was to say just don't watch it. But the fact that I can't stop but say the fact that they were trying to do like a not Adam and Eve-esque between Mai and Gaim, and I was like, why?
Ugh.
The fact that I can actually tell that they're even attempting to do an Adam and Eve kind of style and the Garden of Eden and you're trying to get the forbidden fruit, and I'm like,
Well, they
why?
did touch on that in the movie, but anyway, I just kind of felt that there was just no need. I mean, why does the Overlord's wife in the grave have to resemble Maya? It just doesn't make sense. If anything,
Here's one for you.
that was even more pervy. It was ugh.
Okay, outfits.
All right. I mean, I know you don't really want to talk about Gaim, but I'll just quickly touch on like Team Baron. They were all just groupies of Kaito anyway. Villains, right? You got Sid, who I liked how sly he was. A lot better than Ryugen anyway. Ryugen, it was just like, I think he was deliberately done like that so people would be at home screaming, oh my god, Gaim, are you stupid? And then you had Kaito really rubbing it in his face. And that was another reason why Kaito was a good character. And I will say like Marika, just no personality really. But then you got the overlords. I liked the overlords. You had the main three. You had the two lackeys, the two generals, and you had the main guy who had the main lock seed, the forbidden lock seed, whatever. And then you got Saraga. I liked his background role. I liked how he was helping out Gaim to make it more interesting. I mean, what really? Are you serious? But again, we'll touch on the end at the end. Um, uh, I'll say that. I mean, I don't think there's any other sort of villainish characters. I don't think.
Well, you've already touched on everyone else with a Sengoku driver. Sorry,
The
Genesis
Loxy.
driver.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Genesis drive. I kind of felt that was just another merchandising ploy by Toei. I mean, they could have just, I don't know, just done something else. I mean, they redid the driver. They then released a new weapon that was universal, and then Gaim had like loads of other things. So I think we will touch on weaponry at the moment. I liked how each fruit had its own weapon. I kind of thought it was quite cool that each armament was themed very well around and that it was interchangeable between characters. I mean, I know you didn't like the Dai Shogun where all the fruits went into a basket.
No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that later.
But I'll say that I mean, anyone that had a Genesis driver didn't have a themed weapon. They all had the Sonic Arrow. I thought that was a bit cheating, really. I liked Kachidoki Arms, with his thing, Dai Shogun. I actually did like the mixed fruit theme, I mean, it was a bit lazy, but it kind of worked, and, it was a nice it was a nice end to Gaim having completed his set of powers, I guess.
See, I'm sorry, but I don't like the Dai Shogun, his final form, which kind of looked like a silver Ku Klux Klan kind of.
I think the actual look, the aesthetic look was a bit there.
Not just that, but it just did not fit Gaim whatsoever.
Because Kachidoki looked really good, but Jimba didn't, in my opinion.
I prefer Jimba to his final form.
Yes. Well, yeah, I guess, but I didn't like either of them anyway. I mean, again, Kachidoki was really good, in my opinion.
Agreed.
It was a bit out of theme, though. It was a bit out of theme for the fruit or whatever, consumer product. But, again, when it comes to motif, I will say that, they had the fruit theme, but they really tried hard to wedge in the Sengoku theme. I mean, they did it better at it in the crossover film, to be fair. But for the series, they were just wedging it in a bit too hard, and it just didn't work for me in the series. But in the crossover, it actually didn't work too badly. I mean, you look at how episode 1 presented this whole thing, but again, it didn't really stay true to it anyway. I mean, it started off as like the backdrop. You're looking at story again. It started off as a backdrop, but then the dancing sort of faded away, and then it was all about the whole Helheim theme that, was very biblical and, touched on a lot of things, and it just ended up becoming one big psychotic mess. And, we'll touch on the end at the end. So, coming back to weapons, the only one that I didn't really understand was the DJ gun. Yes, I understand it's DJ Saraga, but, it just felt a bit random, because it didn't really match with anything apart from the fact that DJ Saraga was a DJ.
But the fact that it was like a humongous shotgun blaster thing,
oh,
but at the same time,
it looked cool, I just didn't think it fitted in.
No, but at the same time, you can slot that in like a giant-sized sheath and then combine it with the standard sword and make it like a big-ass buster blade. I actually didn't mind that.
It is what it is.
Nevertheless, saying that, I think the only weapon I think had the most standout for me and form, I thought was Baron Manga Arms. I thought had the most.
Again, I mean, you're looking at the individual arms. I will say, Gaim's was a standard. Pine was nuts. I come out with these things. The pineapple one. The pineapple one was quite cool. Banana, again, standard.
Strawberry.
Mango. I felt they could have used strawberry a lot more. Okay. They didn't use strawberry enough. It looked cool. They could have used it a lot more. Budo Arms, I thought was bog standard again. I liked Suika Arms, actually. I did like Suika Arms. It was a bit comical, so it didn't have to be taken too seriously, but it was a bit badass. Melon Arms could have done a lot more than just be a shield. What other ones? I mean, again, the other ones are a bit weird. I mean, apart from Baron, not Baron, Bravo with his Jurian Arms. But that was more to do with the fact that you had a badass military character.
Who pulled it off?
The other fruits and arms were just like copies of one another and a bit bland. And then you got Jimba arms, which ripped off the Genesis driver users anyway, which didn't really make sense because all it was a color switch on, which was a color flip switch thing, which was a cheap merchandising ploy.
You've got...
It didn't work.
So, okay. Acorn.
Yeah.
You've got... I can't remember his
I don't
other
think the
main
others
one.
really matter because again, what Marika was Peach. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, what did you think of Knuckle?
Meh. Yeah, I like the big arms and the fact they can knock people out with them, but meh.
It's like a skinny Hulk.
I guess. Hulk smash. Anyway, so what did you think of? Let me think. What did you think of the bikes?
In one word, cheap.
Well, I guess they had to find a way to do it, and it's like, alright, we're doing fruits, we're doing nuts. I know, flowers. So, yeah, that was a bit... I don't know, I guess fruits and flowers do go together in the botanical garden of sorts. So, it is what it is. I mean, I think it's really... it does get difficult.
And they even made bloody, hover bikes as well.
Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they? Yeah,
And
someone
hoppers.
is shitty! Hello,
And
someone is
hoppers.
shitty! Anyway,
They even made hoppers.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I remember that. You should watch which one of the films was it? Yeah. I think it was the Golden Fruits Cup. They used the vehicle. They used the hover bikes and that. That's mental the way that ended. But well, I guess it's better.
Did the
than
main
nothing.
riders die?
What did you think of the choreography in the series?
See, as much as I would love to say it was rubbish, I kind of can't, because, okay, I'll admit, it started off slow. I will not deny that. The fighting was very crap to begin with, but then as time progressed and when they got new forms and better upgrades, that they really toned up the fighting style. So it was okay, especially when Baron got his last form. That was fucking sick.
Well, I will say. I mean, I don't know whether this goes with you or not, but I'll say, regardless as to what form each character had, their fighting style was true to the character, and they each had a unique fighting style. You had Gaim, who was a bit like sort of timid, but was doing it for righteousness. You got Baron, who's like got passion to want to be on top, be the best, to just have all the power. And then you got Ryugen, who was like sly, coy. I liked how Ryugen was always sly and coy, and he was like really deceptive and creepy.
Okay.
And then, I mean, alright, and then you got like Zangetsu, who was like, oh, I'm a big ass head of the corporation, I'm super duper. But the Genesis drivers, I'm just going to slag them off again, they were a bit bland. I mean, like Sido was his name, Sido? The bowler hat guy, yeah, Sid, the bowler hat guy, Deadlock's leader guy. He was just like a watered down version of Ryugen anyway, even though Ryugen was the younger one. But again, at least he was the one that was like, oh, I like you, whatever his name was, Mitsuwane. Oh, yeah, you're like your brother, LOL.
Here's one for you. On the subject of fighting forms and true to their nature and so on and so forth, right? What did you think of Ryugen's final death fruit arm, so to say, his last...
That was, I liked how, to talk about how his story ended, I liked how, again, spoiler alert, he kills his brother and his brother comes back, oh, it's a ghost, and he just goes nuts. So that sort of went with that. That went with that. If he didn't have that, that wouldn't have gone with that. But again, you either liked it or you didn't. I thought it was alright.
I love the fact that he ended up like killing his brother, and then he starts feeling guilt and going on a psychotic rampage. And the fact that he gets it last Yomotsu Hegumi arms, just like his basically hell arms, so to say. The fact that he gets that, I think it had a good new facade. to him.
Okay.
That's the word or not, I don't know. It just
of
added a
course.
good tone.
What did you think of the studio and What did you think of the locations and the sets of Gaim?
Well, that's a problem because of the script so bland, the acting was so bland. I can point out saying, okay, I recognize those areas. The main calf was so boring. The fact that they had like a 10-tier fruit bucket straight in the middle was so like in your face that I didn't like it. And the fact that they had a very stereotypical hidden back corner where Sid was doing his dealings with the Loxies, I was like, ugh. Otherwise, everyone else having like a garage or area where to hold their groupies for dance or what, I thought,
I think
what's it?
I like the spin of each setting being for Gaim. I mean, yeah, it is all a bit sort of typical. For, all Kamen Rider staples. You've got your cafe, you've got your bar, you've got your sort of cave-ish villain hideout. I mean,
See,
I mean, there was one particular setting. I think they do use it in Kamen Rider a lot. The one under the bridge. Where they have fight scenes under the bridge.
Yeah,
I kind of liked that one. I liked how they were still like typical to Kamen Rider, but they just felt slightly more fresher. Even though you could say, "Oh look, they're in a cafe again. Oh look, their hangouts hangout again." I
See,
mean,
the thing is,
I actually liked Baron's hangout because it was like a showroom. So I actually did like Baron's hangout. I liked the Zoami City tower thing with the spinning thing around it. It was a bit smart brain, if you will. But, I kind of thought, alright, this adds a bit of a vibe to Zoami City. Yeah.
no, I'm gonna go against one for the Yggdrasil Tower was absolutely rubbish. I don't think it fit the theme whatsoever. I did not like it whatsoever.
No,
Yes, it did.
no, I disagree. It definitely fitted the theme because it was Helheim Forest. You got the Helheim tree. If you don't know the biblical reference, that was basically where you look at Kaito's backstory. That's where the tree connecting the various dimensions was.
True.
So
I'll
that is
agree.
the story of
I'll
Helheim,
agree,
and that's basically how they up. You look at the corporation, whatever it was called, the tree logo, it all relates to the biblical elements of the story.
I'll agree. I'll agree that the tower looked like Yggdrasil, the tree of the worlds, right? That it connects and so on and so forth. That I just did not like the overall appearance and the fact that they tried so much CGI for that tower. I thought was so over the top on
That's neither here nor
that
there, in my opinion.
One second. I just felt that it was so over the top on the actual creation of it that it put me off so much that you have present day stuff with something so over the top, with something that could not exist for maybe 20 years for something like that. I don't know. I just did not think it fit. If they had one solid tall tower, I'll give you that. I'll give you that, right? But I just did not think that fit. That's just my opinion. Yeah, Kaito's tree did. I'm not going to deny that as a...
You mean the showroom?
A what?
You mean the showroom?
Yeah, his showroom for one, as well as also his nostalgic tree, the big tree.
Yeah,
the one that connected
the actual tree, yeah.
Yeah, that worked. I'm not going to deny that. That worked. But not the
I like the
Yggdrasil
Helheim Forest set. I like that.
Maybe.
Okay.
See, the story was so bland that everything else just descended with it.
Yes. Well, alright, I mean, we'll touch on the end at the end. I think I've said that a million times now. I will move on. I mean, again, I think we've covered all the sets, right?
Yeah. So otherwise, unless there's openings just for the hell of it.
Oh no, we'll come to that in a bit. I will say, well, what I want to touch on, if you remember it. What did you think of the Kikaida crossover episodes?
Fresh.
Okay. Have you seen the Kikaider movie yet?
No.
That's on my
By
top
that,
list. Yeah.
what I mean by fresh is the fact that the whole series I thought was an utter bore, and I'm going to say it again probably again.
Okay.
Hang on. But the fact that they threw in this Kikaider crossover was like a nice little eye-opener for
It
me,
was a
if
break
that
for
makes sense.
me. Well, I mean, it was like a break
Yes,
from the
yes,
show.
it was a nice break.
Right. I liked it. I mean, it was a bit standoffish. It was a bit random, and it was clearly just to promote the Kikaider film. But
It's like,
I
that's
thought
like
it was
saying,
nuts how Ryoma became the villain in
I
the
liked
robot
it.
thing. That was
I
nuts.
liked it.
That was nuts.
I loved it. I actually loved that.
All right, moving on again. Right, you don't.
Actually, no, hang on. Did you feel there was a slight similarity in that crossover with Decade and Shinkenja style?
I haven't seen that yet. Oh, sorry. My
Yeah,
bad.
you're gonna get so many complaints on that one. But anyway,
Yeah,
moving
well,
on.
everyone knows where they can write into. Anyway, so going
We'll
on
make
this.
it all along the bottom.
Brilliant. Okay, next one. Well, the specials, because there was. I'm just trying to think. There was a DVD special. Just can't remember anything. I can never remember anything about the DVD specials. There was the movie, The Golden Fruits Cup. There was
Wizard
there was the
crossover.
crossover. There was a crossover with Wizard and Gaim.
Now,
And there
Drive.
was, which Tyson film was it? It was the one from Kamen Rider 15. So you had Kamen Rider Tyson as well.
Wasn't it Zed?
No, Zed was. Hold on, was he in Zed? It was Fours, I think. Yeah, Fours, I'm sure.
Then there was someone coming right Tyson.
No, because you had Fours with Tyson, you had Wizard with Tyson Zed, and then you got Gaim with Kamen Rider Tyson. So, alright, I'll touch it, because you haven't seen any of them, have you?
I've only seen the. Hang on. No,
Have
I've
you
only
seen
seen
the
the one.
Gaim? Have you seen the? Which of the Gaim films have you seen?
None.
You always say no. Right, I will. I mean, again, apart from the fact that I have seen the DVD, I just can't remember anything about it. They're all forgettable. I mean, there was no. Hold on. No, the DVD was. Yeah, it was very similar to Kiba's DVD. It's like, oh, choose which right. I liked how they mixed the whole, like they gave each rider the other rider's fruits, like they were swapping the fruits around. That was quite cool for the DVD. And a nice bonus for anyone that ended up with it, etc. It might be worth some one day. But nothing too sort of groundbreaking there. The movies, right, starting with Kamen Rider Tyson. I guess I kind of liked how, Ichigo and Gaim were a bit standoffish with each other. And then depending on which ending you followed, they all made up in the end. Surprise. I didn't like, they called it Kamen Rider Tyson featuring Super Sentai. There was just no need. So now it's just called Kamen Rider Tyson with, Kamen Rider Sango in it. So, looking at Kamen Rider Tyson, Kamen Rider Tyson featuring Super Sentai, it was an okay film. I kind of liked the villain development in it. It was a bit weird and random, with the Kamen Rider 15 thing. I liked the new forms in it, Ichigo arms, for Kamen Rider Ichigo as opposed to Ichigo the Strawberry. I will say, they could have done a better job with the subplot. I'll go to, again, I'm not doing this in chronological order. Golden Fruits Cup. I liked how it was a good spin on what the main story was, because it was like, dancing, and then they concentrated on the serious plot behind it all. The Golden Fruits Cup was the same, only with soccer and a much condensed time, and it was resolved a lot quicker. So if you felt Gaim was too long, basically the Golden Fruits Cup film was basically the whole series massively condensed. Now, the last film I'll touch on is the crossover between Gaim and Wizard. I mean, they are doing a Drive-In Gaim, which isn't out, which I think was released late last year. And then you've got the what is it called? What's it called?
Drive
You've got
Grand
Gaim
Prix.
Gaiden. Gaim Gaiden hasn't been released yet, but that all looks really cool actually for Gaim Gaiden. But yeah, with Gaim and Drive crossover not out yet, or not out internationally yet, I'll say I absolutely love the Gaim Wizard crossover. I've not seen the Wizard Force crossover, to be fair, but having watched the Gaim Wizard crossover, I actually loved it. It's a lot better. Yeah, I mean, I like, there were certain things I liked and didn't like about the Super Sentai crossovers, especially the one with Kyoryuger and Go Busters. But when it comes, I mean, again, because it's only a fairly new thing for Kamen Rider, this being what I can gather is the second or third maybe of the Kamen Rider crossovers, I really liked it. It was, I mean, spoiler alert, you've basically got, it basically starts off with it being a wizard thing. I kind of thought, am I watching the right thing here? So yeah, there was a wizard thing. Wizard had his own episode where stuff happened. Then it sort of switches over to Gaim. Gaim has stuff that has happened. And then they cross the story really well. And again, the Sengoku theme, Kamen Rider, Gaim, really comes through in the Gaim Wizard crossover. And it was a nice little end to Wizard's story. I mean, even though I think they can easily expand on that any time. I thought compared to the Sentai crossovers, this one was actually really good. And where it's not as intense, where it's not like a whole thing, it's a lot easier to digest. The only disadvantage to it, and I guess Fours would have the same problem, and I guess the Drive crossover is going to have the same problem, is they literally do it on the back end of the other series finishing, whereas the Sentai crossovers, it's basically they're bringing back the previous year's team after a year, so it's quite nostalgic. Whereas they're not going to have that with the Kamen Rider crossovers, because they do it on the back end of each series, so it doesn't really work. But but again, specifically for the Gaim Wizard crossover, I liked it.
Fair enough.
So we'll go for final thought. Well, we'll talk about
first
final
off, your
episode.
opening. Your thoughts on the opening.
Final episodes, the music, and final thoughts. 3 things to end. Go on.
Opening, I actually didn't mind it, except the very deep husky voice within the extended or the full-length version of the opening. I thought was slightly what the hell. I did not expect that. But otherwise, not just that. I actually didn't mind the opening whatsoever. The whole thoughts on the whole series, I thought was an utter bore with some good action sequence here and there. The ending was an utter disappointment. I did not like it. I thought they could do like a special episode with an alternate ending where I hope they kill Gaim and Mai just for the hell of it and for the hilarity. And where Baron gets the Forbidden Fruit as a twist and to see what he would do, because he's very an unpredictable character, so I'll see that. And just let Michi die rather than him getting his hell death fruit.
Anyway, right, I'll choose the music. Right, what were the 3 final episodes? The music I thought was I liked the opening. It was bog standard, but I liked it. Looking at the final episodes, right now, I actually like Gaim as a series. What lets the series down is the way it ended. I am a big fan of it. I like the Heisei era of Kamen Rider. The only thing I do not like about Gaim is the way it ended. It just falls apart at the end. It was a strong series, it just ended. But obviously my final thought of the series is that it's still a good series, just to end a bit rubbish. But looking at that rubbish ending. I mean, the only thing that was good about it is how Kaito became Psycho. Again, just as I said earlier, I felt we were cheated in that, what you saw in episode 1 is actually an alternative dimension that doesn't happen in the main series, which doesn't happen in the main canon of the series. It's a cop-out. That's what it was. And, they could have done something a lot better than that with it. I mean, alright, yeah, sure, the Golden Fruits Cup touches on the whole alternative dimensions thing, but this should not have been a sci-fi series. I mean, Fours touches on the fact that it's in space. Was it Blade or Fires that has... No, Fires was the one with Smart Brain. So, I think I'm getting mixed up now. Like one of those.
Smart Brain.
Yeah, right. So that had a bit of a sci-fi-ish theme to it. So did Kabuto. But there was no need for that in Gaim, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, alright, you got Helheim Forest. It kind of makes sense. But to do that with episode 1 and towards the end, I thought was a massive cop-out. The only thing I'll say about Gaim becoming the ultimate saviour of the world, he literally was the master of the universe. He ended up getting gold hair. You might as well have stacked on him the Castle of Grayskull and called him He-Man. And then he goes to another planet. What the hell? It kind of, it kind of got me. I
am the power.
I have the power, and they could have done so much more with the ending, but they just copped out of it. And goodness knows what the Drive Gaim crossover is about. Although I like the whole Drive having Gaim arms and Drive having an orange shift car and Gaim having a Drive arms or whatever. I just kind of felt, the ending's what let down, but I'll still say I like the series. And that's me.
Okay. Just to sum it off, literally right at the end, would you and could you see yourself watching the whole series again?
No.
I wouldn't. I would just shelve it. If anyone, honestly, I would just shelve it.
Well, I know you didn't like it, but again, I just felt the end let it down. And, other bits as well, maybe.
And leaving on that note, where we know that I thought it was an utter atrocity, thank you for watching another episode with me, Master Bushido, and with my Toku Bros, Flayvaman! And join us next time. And as always, fist to the cam!
See you next time.